Finally, Wallace was betrayed. On the 3rd of August 1305, he was seized in a house near Glasgow. According to an English source, Wallace was surprised in his bed. In the Scots version of what happened, Wallace put up a huge fight before he was eventually taken.
Three weeks later, Wallace stood here, Westminster Hall, before Edward's judges. The king, ever the master of the law, was determined to destroy Wallace's reputation. A crown of laurel leaves had been placed on his head to mock, it was said, Wallace's boast that one day he would wear a crown. As an outlaw, he was already legally condemned. No plea, no jury, no witnesses, no defence. He was merely presented with the indictment that he had notoriously committed killings, arson, destruction of property and sacrilege during the war with England, that he had assumed the title of Guardian and seduced the Scots into an alliance with France. The charge of treason was an innovation, but if it was on the king's record, then it was law. If Edward said he was a traitor, then he was. It was only then that Wallace spoke. He had never been a traitor. He had never sworn allegiance to Edward. Like Scotland, Wallace was trapped by Edward's laws. The outcome was a foregone conclusion.
He suffered a traitor's death. There was no Christian burial. Wallace's boiled head was spiked on Westminster Bridge and his quartered body sent north to Newcastle, Berwick, Stirling and Perth as an example of the fate that would befall anyone who challenged Edward. What are we to make of Wallace? What is important is what he became after his death. He became a brand, repackaged and rolled out in the centuries to come to suit both nationalist and unionist agendas. 700 years later, the basic vision of a free, independent Scotland for which William Wallace fought still haunts the collective Scots imagination. For many, Wallace remains Scotland's greatest patriot. But what had he actually achieved?
In the end, Wallace had failed. Scotland's king remained in exile, her nobles under oath. Edward I, the Hammer of the Scots, had conquered Scotland. You might even say he had turned it into an English region. But in his fixation with the crown and the kingdom, he'd underestimated the people. Edward's determination to crush them had served only to define for the Scots who they really were.